Hi everyone. In this session we will cover for loop in Python. So this is very important loop in Python. So let's learn this and let's get started. So here I have on the screen Visual Studio Code, VS Code, and using these icons you can create any Python file and you can write Python code inside that file. So to explain for loop, I will be creating one Python file. So this is the first icon if you see right here, right in this section. We can create using this icon a new file. Let's create, and here I can give the name of the file. So since this is for loop, so I would say for loop.py, simple, right? And here we'll try to understand what exactly for loop is. So let's say I have at line number something, right? For loop is used for iterating something. So if you have multiple things, you can iterate. So let's say I have a list of 5 numbers. So I would say my list you can define using this rectangular brackets, and here I can write 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 5. So I have these 5 numbers inside a list. So in Python you can define a list using these rectangular brackets. So this is one variable, a kind of collection which contains multiple numbers. Now I want to print all these 5 numbers which are present inside my list. How can I do that? Simple, just use for loop for that. And if I use this, for items, right? So in these items there are numbers, so I would call these numbers as, let's say, for each for x in, I will use this in statement in my list. So for every x in my list, so I will read it this statement like this only. So x represents these elements 1 2 3 4 5. So I'm saying, okay, for every x in my list, put a colon. This colon is very important. Enter sign, and notice there's a some space right here, so it provides us indentation. So for x in my list, I want to print. I will use print statement, and the print statement you always use this bracket sign, and inside bracket I can write x. So this is simple 3-line code, and I'm using for loop in Python. So here's a list of 5 integers, and I'm printing those 5 integers using a simple for loop in Python. Let's run this program and see the output 1 2 3 4 5. Awesome. And if I want to, so there could be another problem statement. So let's say you have a list. Now you want to print double of every number, right? So 1 into 2 should be 2. 1 into 2 should be 2, yeah. And 2 into 2 should be 4, 3 into 2 should be 6, 8, 10, right? So I'm just trying to print double of every number which is present in my list. How you can implement this logic? Again, using the same for statement. The only thing which I have to do is print 2 times of x. For multiplication we use this star sign or asterisk sign. And if I run this program again, so I can see I'm getting the double values of every element which is present inside the list: 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So this was one scenario. Let's try to see another scenario. So let me comment this, so we can put hash sign for commenting in Python. So I will comment these 3 lines. Okay, so using hash we can comment. Now I'm going to define my another list. So let's say my new list, list we define using these brackets. So currently we have empty list, and inside I can write maybe apple, comma is very important, orange, comma, banana. So just notice in this scenario we have a list of strings. In previous scenario we have a list of numbers. So it doesn't matter whether your list contains numbers or string, we can use for loop the same way which we were using earlier. So now I want to, let's say, print all the fruits which are present inside my list. How can I do that? Again, use for x in statement, or x in my new list. So this is the name of collection list which contains all these fruits. Use colon and enter. Same way, print, always use bracket in Python 3 and put x. And let's run this. Here you go. We have printed apple, orange and banana, right? And if somebody asks, okay, so these are the list of fruits. Now, as we can see, these are in lower case. Apple, orange, banana, these are in lower characters, lower case. Somebody wants to print them in uppercase. How you can do that? Pretty simple. Since these are strings, right? And for x is also a string, so we can use one string function which is x dot upper, and with function we always use bracket sign, so I will call it upper, x dot upper I am printing. Let's see what will happen in this case. Just run this. As you can see here in the terminal, apple, orange, banana are in now uppercase character. So we can do multiple logic modifications inside for loop. And notice when we are when I'm saying inside for loop, which means I have to provide at least one space after this for. So when we look at the screen at line number 5 and 6, print statement is inside for loop, and that's the importance of indentation in Python. So we have to provide at least one space. So at this time by default I have provided 4 space. Alright, so using for statement we can iterate through the collections list, right? If there are multiple things available, we can use for loop to iterate every element, and we can perform some logic on top of that. So in earlier case we applied the logic of making it 2 times, and in this I have applied the logic of printing plus making them in uppercase, right? So coming back to the agenda, so in this session we wanted to cover for loop in Python. I hope we have covered Python for loop, and I hope you have understood. And that's all I wanted to share in this session today. Thank you so much. Bye bye.